You ready? Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 meeting of the Golf Committee. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 20, I have to inquire whether anyone is taping the meeting. Seeing none, I also would like to remind the public that this meeting is being recorded and will air on Channel 18 after it concludes. With that, we'll take the roll call. Jeff Converse?
Here.
John Cookson?
Present.
Keith Hochstein, present. Suzanne Connolly?
Present.
Mark Bushway?
Present.
Bill Silva?
Present.
Jason Orby?
Present.
Okay, we're going to act on the minutes of the November 8th, 2022 meeting. Do we have any questions, comments, first of all, in regards to the minutes? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes of...
And a second?
February.
Second.
Second, any comments? All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes of the November 8th, 2022 meeting? Jeff Converse?
Yes.
John Cookson?
Yes.
Keith Hochstein, yes. Suzanne Connolly?
Yes.
Mark Bushway?
Yes.
Bill Silva?
Yes.
Jason Orby?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the winter meeting schedule. I asked Jesse to put this on the agenda tonight because if you recall last winter, and this sometimes happens, we could not have a meeting because we didn't have a quorum. Now, I'm going to ask John Cookson to make sure I'm correct in this, but years ago, 6-7 years ago, the January meeting, it was standard operating procedure to skip the January meeting. Am I correct about that, John?
I thought it was February.
Oh, February, okay. All right. Well, I think we have the opportunity. The point is that we want to make sure we have a quorum for every single meeting. So are there any meetings that people cannot attend, either January, February, or March? If everybody can attend the meetings, then we'll drop the February meeting. But if we're not going to have a quorum in whatever month, then we want to make sure that's the month that we eliminate.
Makes sense.
So does anyone have a request, one way or the other, for a particular meeting? All right, seeing none.
Is there any meeting that, is there any month that there's more going on than another month?
That's a
or-
good point.
Not really. I mean,
I know you're busy year-round, Jesse, but...
no,
Calendar. Yeah. January.
not until we get
Okay, the
to.
Tuesday would be the 10th.
I wouldn't want to skip March because January and February are
That would be
huge,
the 14th, I guess.
membership drive
Right.
months.
That is school vacation.
But January and February are probably
Or is that
one and the same.
following?
I will point out, for whatever it's worth, that our meeting in February would be on Valentine's Day. I don't know if that matters to anybody. We
That what?
The February meeting would be on Valentine's Day, for whatever that's worth. Yeah.
Is that like school vacation week, or would that be the following week? or-
Oh, that's, president, or what
That's
is
the
it?
president's.
That's the following week, but
Yeah.
yeah, the third week.
Following week is vacation.
I'm gone
week.
for the February one.
You're gone in
Yeah,
the February
so I think
meeting.
that makes
All right.
Let's drop it.
Okay, well, that's why I asked this to be on the agenda, just for that very reason. So, I don't know if we necessarily have to have a motion for this, because again, the history of the golf committee is that we did skip a meeting either in January, February, or sometimes in March. But if we just want to agree that the February meeting is the meeting that we will miss, and that we will have a meeting then in January, and as Jesse just indicated, we want to have our meeting in March. Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. It was easy. Now we have the Director of Golf Maintenance report. James?
I don't have a whole lot tonight. The car path project has been slowly moving along. Granted, there have been some weather delays, which I get. they got a truck stuck last week. They've done quite a bit of damage, as I'm sure some of you have seen, which, to be honest, I knew that was coming. Some of those spots out in the golf course, there's no good way to get to them. It's a challenge.
Well, one area I thought was odd is on 5.
5.
In front of the, in front of the T-ball, right in the fairway.
Yeah.
And I know they were coming up one side, but this is right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, they're truck drivers. I put cones out there, I showed them where to drive, and for some reason, path of least resistance, they've several times
So are they
ignored my-
liable for that, any of that damage, or what?
As part of the original contract, they were supposed to be. I almost don't want them back in the spring to fix it. I almost rather would have my guys do it in-house. I've already measured everything and what they've damaged. So there's talks about reducing that amount of the contract and just having us do it in-house to fix it. Because I think, to be honest, we do a better job. And they're gonna
what
do
kind of
damage
a-
just getting out there to fix the damage.
What kind of an amount did you think in terms of damage?
Oh, we're easily well over 200 yards alone, just alone.
What is that
Wow.
dollar-wise?
It's, the loam I like is around $27 a yard, so it's not astronomical. But that's a negotiation with the company. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Who will do that negotiation?
Defer to Jesse on that one.
Me and Chris Ganella. There's talks about, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but there has been talk about, we missed our loam and seeding window.
Right.
Things dragged on too much. Obviously pointless to put seed down now. So there has been talk of potentially having them hopefully finish the paving over the next 10 days. I mean, what do they have left? You know, get as much paving done as they can, and then hopefully everything, and then basically short the contract with an agreement with them. Whatever James deems it would cost in both man hours and loam and seed to do it ourselves in-house, short the payment to them by that much, take that money, pivot, buy our own loam and seed with it, and use a portion of it that was earmarked for labor to maybe get some DPW help. Because while James's guys could do it,
Takes them off. It's the
pulling
other
us-
thing.
that's
Away
my
from other
concern, is what is not getting done while you're doing this. But that's a conversation, we're not there yet. We gotta see what happens over these next 10 days. If they can get a ton of paving done, great. But if there's still a lot of paving left to be done and they have to come back anyway in the spring, then it's a different situation.
The wisdom of paving with temperatures what they are and what they will be, is there any concern there? Because, we had our new driveway put in and they said, at a certain point, they don't want to pave if the temperature gets too
Yeah.
low.
The asphalt plant actually, I think, closes pretty soon. Like, they're not even open, so you can't get
Yeah,
Right.
they only have like a week left anyway.
maybe a week and a half.
All right, I'm just worried that what they're doing and with these cold temperatures might not hold up as well as if the temperatures weren't that cold, but nothing to be done, I guess.
No, we're so far beyond that at this
Yeah.
point. We just want it done.
Yeah.
And this has been a headache.
Yeah, I can.
That has to be
tell.
sealed as well?
Yeah.
The asphalt has to be sealed.
Yep.
They're doing that now, too?
Well, what they do is they lay down, they call it the binder coat, which is a couple inches, and then they come back and do a top coat on top of it to, as you said, seal it.
That's what I'm talking about.
This has been a lot of James's life lately.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
Yes.
No, some of it looks real good.
I
it
will
looks like you
say
did a great job, but
The finished product is
the
very good.
damage is...
The quality of work is good. It's our concern is the damage to the golf course and the amount of the timing. It's just, it was supposed to be a 6-week project and we're in week 11 or 12 now, which is surprising to nobody, I guess, the way these things go.
I'm sure you've asked them to pay attention to orange cones from now on, and, you kind of marked off where they could go, but they just ignored it?
Well, the day the truck got stuck, I spoke directly to the driver and said, you do not want to drive there, and sure enough.
Unbelievable.
But
We've had 6 pieces of equipment become inoperable during this project. 2 trucks, a tractor, a bobcat, a roller, and one of our carry-all maintenance utility carts driven by one of their employees.
broke the
Yeah.
broke the
So
shock
6
right off.
pieces of equipment have become inoperable during, it's been,
A nightmare.
yeah.
Okay.
Jesse, if I could just go back, we've documented this at the ALF committee meetings about the fact that the original proposal was in the 400,000s, then we went to 300, then we went to 200. Did the town do this? And I know the town was largely in charge of this because by law, we have to take the lowest bid.
So
Is
there-
that what it is?
Yes and no. The way it's written from everything I saw is you go with the lowest bidder unless there are very obvious circumstances which would say we're not going to. Does that make sense? I mean,
Bad reputation, for example.
a lot of, yeah. So, or unless it's super close. This was not close. The original appropriation was 446,000.
Right.
I have no idea where that number came from. Well, we actually went out, that's how much was authorized. That was basically our credit limit for this job.
Right.
When we went out to bid, we got 2 bids. Lawrence Lynch came in right around 400. This company came in at like 290.
Okay.
So it was a 6-figure difference.
Right.
And procurement basically said, that's too big of a difference to even start a conversation about not going with the lowest bidder. Then,
Okay.
because the bid was written a little vague, let's say,
Yeah.
some things that we wanted and we thought had been communicated were left out, like the flaring out of the entrance and exits to all the cart paths. They don't just start in a straight line. They should be like bulbed a little bit to encourage a scatter. Some berms for water flow reasons, that kind of stuff. We had to do a change order to the tune of about 70,000. So now all of a sudden that 290 bid was up to 360, 370.
Much closer to
Much
the
closer.
other one.
But it was at that point, now, had that bid come in at 360, 370, I would have had a maybe better chance of saying, let's go with the more established vendor, even though it's 30 grand more. But when it was 110 more, I had no argument.
Did the other vendor bid to those specs?
Same spec, yeah, same thing.
I mean, did they bid to the specs with the fanned out entrances and all that?
That got muddy. What do you, I mean,
Oh, they didn't? Oh, okay.
Who
Yeah.
did the specs? I mean, who wrote them?
DPW.
DPW did it for us.
We were
And
told,
they were vague and they didn't indicate, yeah.
we were told they had to be involved. James, me, and Chris Ganella were frankly perfectly comfortable doing it ourselves, saying here's what we want. But we were told by procurement, this is a construction project, this is a paving project, DPW has to be the project manager, so to speak. And
Well, on the one hand, we want to get the best price. And if there is a lower bid, we want to use that lower bid. Just like I want to when something goes wrong in my own home.
sure.
On the other hand, we all know you get what you pay for. And I think it's apparent that we have gotten what we paid for.
You get what you pay for, you get what you tolerate. I think the lowest bidder is a concept that will be argued till the end of time.
Well, there is a way to get around
you know.
that going forward. You do another bid, set it to best value. It's a state allowed contract term.
I worked for the state too, and I agree, but I don't know if municipals run by the same rules.
Now, what is that? Could you explain that? What does that mean, the best value?
There's lowest qualified bidder, which is the way the DPW bid went out. And then what the state does in most procurements is best value. And then it allows you to actually compare the elements of bids to be able to identify that. So when you had one that came in at 468, one came in at 290, you have both providers come in and exactly outline what's in the bid, and that's where you identify they didn't include the bulb, they didn't include the berm, they didn't include, then you normalize the bids, and then you make a decision. But you cannot go in a closed bid procurement and ask questions
That's right.
in a lowest bid authorization. If it's lowest bid wins, lowest qualified bid is usually what it comes out to. If that's the way that it went to public RFP, then you have to go by the number. In best value, you can actually go after the bids come in, bring in the bidders and say, give me an exact outline of what you're doing, and then you can compare those two and make a decision.
But you had no control over this
Oh,
process.
no, this was procurement telling me.
No, but that was a mistake by procurement.
Right, I had.
Yes, that's not the
Yeah.
golf team.
I had conversations with procurement saying, can we at least say prior golf course experience necessary? And I was told no. I was told that would be too limiting and we'd be open to a bid protest. I couldn't believe that I couldn't say, and the answer I got from procurement was no, paving is paving. I said, it's not though. We're dealing with a golf course. We're dealing with routes and all, different types of terrain and all, no, paving is paving. I thought it was a little crazy that we couldn't at least say prior golf course experience required, but that was shot. I was told
Preferred, you could have said preferred as well.
no. Yeah, they
That's
said
too
that.
bad.
Yeah, I fought it, and the answer I finally got was, Jesse, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. This is what we're doing. Okay.
Golf course architecture is such a specialized field. I don't know why they would not understand.
Paving is paving, is what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the next paving bid will not go out the way this one did?
Talk to procurement.
When are we gonna have a next paving bid?
Well, yeah, there's more work to
Oh,
be
for
done.
here?
Old Barney
Oh,
and
Barney,
some,
okay, you're right.
And there's more work to be done at Hyannis as well, do you think?
There could be. I mean, that's why I tried to, when I was out there, that's why there's certain areas that look kind of silly, like 16T, there's a gap, but I was trying to get all the worst areas that I could
Right.
Right.
to maximize the, what we could, get
What you
done.
could get.
What we wanted versus what we needed were two very different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, the frustrating thing about this is that we did have the money in our reserve account to
To
take
do
the
it, to
higher
do it
bid.
right.
To do it
To
right.
get
that
it
was
right,
what I was
to get it right. It's not like we didn't have the money.
Well, we did it on the cheap. But I'm confident that, like everything else, at the end of the day, a year from now, it'll look good. James will have a stressful spring.
We'll get
No.
it. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, the pathway going down 8, for instance, is absolutely terrific.
The quality of build is fine. Yeah, it's the damage to the course and the timing. We're very apprehensive about what this spring is going to look like. Trying to get equipment out there on a Cape Cod spring. I mean, you think
What
it's damage? You
season?
think it's damage now?
Yeah. Will the water department bid the fixing of the sprinkler system?
No. Well, you talking irrigation in Hyannis?
Irrigation, yeah. I'm just being
No.
a little bit facetious.
No.
I'm just, I just think it's critical that the people who know the course, who know golf, should be more involved in the procurement process. Enough said, I guess.
I tried.
Yeah, I know you did. Okay.
All right, James, anything else on your report?
Not too much. I did have, I signed up a bunch of the guys for a chainsaw safety class.
Well, good.
They participated with some guys from DPW right over here on the 6th hole where we have a tree problem. So perfect, knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone. The guys get 4 days of safety training.
That's excellent.
And we get rid of some trees. And DPW is going to assist us with the chipping and the cleanup.
Excellent.
So that was a bonus. We have a couple of new guys on staff, particularly at Old Barnstable on the maintenance crew, and I think it was great to get them. The guy was really good. He's from Western Mass. He's been doing it for several years, so that was great to have that done.
So what trees on 6 are being taken down or have been taken
The ones
down?
around the green.
Around the green?
We have a
okay.
lot of problems with that green as far, the trees are just too close.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the 6th green at Hyannis then, in the sense
Very
that they
similar.
shade it too much?
Exactly.
Because that green is
turf.
beautiful now.
Yes.
After a year of having real nice sun on that green, it's a beautiful green.
Yeah, we had a lot of issues with that before, and we're having the same ones with the 6th green
Okay.
here. Just very thin turf. Sometimes you just can't put a cup in the back of the green because it can't handle the traffic.
Feel free to fill in some of those bunkers on 6 too.
The green
Six.
side
The
ones?
green side bunkers.
Those are popular.
That hole needs
targets.
protection.
Oh,
They're nasty.
How many are there, 3 or 4?
It's 4.
4.
All right, questions for James? Any members of the committee? Do you have a little more?
Nothing crazy, just our winter work.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a quick bunker edging if the weather allows it, particularly at Old Barnstable. Just zip around and give them a fresh edge. And
That's
also, the guys are cleaning up right now the ponds, all the overgrowth on 3 and 9 here. to clean that up. It's been several years since that's been done, just to make that look nicer. And at Hyannis, 11 green, that front bunker, we're going to take our backhoe, shave it down, so you'll be able to see the green from the tee.
Oh,
Oh.
goodness.
It's been
That's awesome.
one of Jesse's requests now for
That's-
several years. So we're going to get to that.
That's great.
Okay.
Do you ever go around and add sand to any of the bunkers? Does that?
We do. I know it
Is that
doesn't
like
seem
is
like
that
it.
routine maintenance? Is that?
We do. We do add sand to the bunkers. And part of speaking of bunkers, coming up here, we're doing a 5-year CIP. What, next year, Jesse?
Yeah.
To start putting in requests for money to fix bunkers, starting with the green sides at Hyannis, like the right way with contractors, possibly liners.
that's great.
There's so many liners. That's part of my winter. I have to research what we might want because there's a lot of different directions we can go.
We have every intention of doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Do we have to wait 5 years to see any of them done?
It's a 4-year plan, FY25 through 28. FY25 being green side at Hyannis, the following year green side at Old Barnstable, and then fairways at Hyannis, and then fairways here. I mean, I think green sides are definitely more
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
And, so that's kind of how we want to piece it together. So
You gonna fill in anymore?
Yeah,
You
yeah. We'll talk about which ones. James knows this golf course a lot better than I do, but I mean, at Hyannis, I'd say the ones around 2 green, maybe the bottom one on 12 green.
The one on 5.
5 where off the
That
tee?
one has to stay.
No.
What? No, no. Here.
Oh, here.
Oh, here.
Yeah. When you put a new edge on a bunker, you bevel it, right? Is that the part of the plan, or?
What do you mean by bevel?
Well, when you put a new edge, is it straight up and down, or is
Yeah.
it more
Yeah.
like
No, it's
Yeah.
it's beveled? That's helpful because I hear a lot of kvetching about the fact that they aren't beveled, but that's okay.
You get that complaint a lot.
You promise not to.
People
get-
really want them sliced inward?
What?
that's the first time
Outward.
I've heard that.
So when when you're trying to get out of a bunker,
Yes.
you're not facing
It's supposed to be
an overhang.
It's supposed to be completely straight up and down.
Yeah, it should be straight.
completely straight up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
All
That's how
right.
we do it.
Yeah.
That's
The
the
worst case is when they cut them in, and then everything goes into it.
Feed it right.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I meant the other way.
Right. You don't want it getting caught under the lip.
Correct. That's all I'm asking.
That's pretty much all I had. Anybody
Okay.
have any questions?
Questions? All right, great. Director of Golf report?
All right, so Mary and Tom have been busy setting up the 2023 season. That is creating tee sheets, setting the club tournament schedule, booking the groups that come to us every year in addition to some new ones. I will say it's become a kind of a delicate balancing act when it comes to group bookings. I remember when I first started as the head pro at Hyannis in 2015, aggressively booking group outings was a huge priority. It was talked about a ton in my job interview. I'd constantly be asked by Bruce and by the committee, how many groups have we booked? And I haven't been asked that question in years. And I think we all know why. Access has arguably overtaken revenue as the number one consideration. And I say that because I want to make it sure everybody knows that we don't simply book any and every group that comes to us. There are plenty of cases where we've decided for various reasons we'd be better off simply being open on any particular day. So I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with what's called Inside Barnstable Town Government, a Citizens Leadership Academy. Have you heard of this? It's a 12-week informational endeavor, for lack of a better word, with the goal of, their words, educating the citizens of Barnstable about the operations of town government while obtaining valuable feedback and participation from those citizens participating. So basically every Tuesday for 12 weeks, one department is tasked with kind of pulling back the curtain and showing what it is we do. Golf is currently scheduled to present on the evening of Tuesday, February 21st. However, Maddie's looking to get that date changed because that's school vacation week, and several key staffers will be away. But regardless of the actual date, this is a chance for me and either James or Chris, they'll fight over who gets to do it, to present to a group of, I think it's like 25 people. We boast about all the wonderful things the golf division is and does for the town. If you want to check that out, it's right on the town's homepage right now. At the moment, I think it's the #1 thing on the left side under that, in the news header that kind of rotates. There's an application, and it's for everybody who's been through this program says it's really cool. It's eye-opening to what a lot of these different departments do that frankly most people just would never think of.
Jesse, I went through this program.
Oh, you did it? Okay, yeah. I mean, it must be fascinating in some regards. You go to the police station, right? You go, yeah. So our night will be, the community services will be all in one night. So we'll go to HYCC. I'll do, James and I or Chris will do a 30-minute, PowerPoint presentation and talk about this and that. And then the rest of the time would be rec and senior center and all the other things. So Bruce used to do it. COVID suspended it. They've brought it back. This will be my first time doing it, but looking forward to it. It should be cool. Rates and fees yet to be approved. Today actually marks the end of the 30-day public comment period, so I expect to hear in the very near future from the town manager as to whether or not he has approved or reduced the proposed increases or eliminated them altogether. Those are the only three things that can happen. I will say I finally have some hard evidence that other towns on Cape are taking similar measures to preserve resident access. Dennis is not selling any new non-resident passes.
Wow.
Cranberry Valley has eliminated the discount they used to offer to residents of the neighboring towns of East Em, Chatham, and Orleans. So we're not alone. Other towns are taking steps to preserve resident access. Not in the way we did. We chose to go up on price. Proposed, whereas these other two towns, one just said we're capping it, period, and the other eliminated a discount that was being offered. On the evening of December 1st, Chris Gannell and I went in front of town council to request that $45,000 be freed up from our surplus for the purpose of purchasing a much-needed tractor. It was approved unanimously by the council after a 30-day waiting period that exists for reasons beyond my comprehension. We can get the funds encumbered, get the order placed, and it's a matter of how soon we can actually take delivery. Lead times right now are over a year,
Somewhere in
Oh my
there.
gosh.
so we're probably realistically looking at the spring of 2024 before we can take delivery
Wow.
on this tractor.
The company has 80 tractors on order. It's possible, he said, he could sneak us one earlier, maybe.
Who do we get that from, Jesse?
Is that Toro?
We went with the John Deere.
John Deere. Okay.
We have a signed purchase order for the manufacture and installation of a new awning over the deck at Hyannis. That came in a little over $26,000.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
About the John Deere. There are no John Deere dealers down here, so.
Not on the
if a-
Cape, no.
If a piece of equipment like that goes bad, what do you do? I mean,
We deal with, I had to do 3 quotes for this, 3 bids, 3 different companies, 3 dealers. One of them we deal with all the time, Finch. They're out of New York, I believe, but we get parts from them all the time.
So you'd have to do the repairs yourself?
Our mechanics usually repair, unless it's a major issue with the tractor, they can. But they gave us the company that we do the most business with was the low bidder, which was nice.
We got some trade-in, right?
Yes, he gave us some money for the 3, one of them's not even running, but the 3 tractors that are at Hyannis.
So the awning came in a little over $26,000. It's a very reputable outfit called the Dorchester Awning Company. Hoping to have that installed, this spring, early mid-April.
Where is that on?
The
Don't
back-
mind- don't mind me. Where is that?
The deck at Hyannis.
The deck.
The back
Because I
deck.
saw a guy today taking pictures outside of the front of the door of the pro shop. There's an awning there as well.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
that?
No, not that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we don't. That used to, back when we had a million outings, that was used a lot because that was kind of the registration area.
Okay.
That has since kind of, yeah, we might look into it in the future, but no. No, we're talking over the deck. I think this item is a good example of putting into perspective how the budget cycle works and how far out we need to plan some of these things. That awning was a decision package I submitted over a year ago, in November of 2021. And we've just now entered into a contract for April delivery. So we're talking 17 months from the time I submitted the request until the actual delivery of the product, and that's assuming the vendor hits their deadline. I highlight this because I want everyone to realize when you hear us talking about like plans for bunkers in FY25, I know FY25 sounds like it's so far off. It's not as if we're putting it off or kicking the can down the road. In a lot of cases, that's quite literally how far out decisions we make today take before they come into fruition, for lack of a better word. I mean, right now, I'm in the process of finalizing our FY24 budget narrative. So that's how far out the town requires us to identify and react to certain types of needs. And in most cases, there's really no way to speed that up. Not complaining, just feel like I need to make that clear now and then that a lot of these decisions we make are 18 months out. The deadline for bids for the food and beverage concession here at Old Barnstable has come and gone. I am not allowed to say anything other than members of the evaluation committee, Keith and I, along with Mary, Chris Cannella, Maddie Noonan, we have our homework, and we have to have that process wrapped up in the next few weeks. What I can tell you is there was only one bidder. Decision packages and CIP requests have been submitted. At this point, it's just a waiting game to see what, if anything, gets approved and how we'll be looking for this fiscal year. We submitted a lot. If everything were to get approved, man, our operating budget would go up probably a good 5%, if not more. I'm thinking about 200,000. And the CIP stuff, I mean, it's a lot. I've been over it with you all. It's a lot. But we have it. I want to use it. I see no reason our surplus needs to grow from where it is now. It's there for a reason. Mm-hmm. Let's get it done.
Make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah,
Right?
I have no interest in seeing that surplus go to 4 million.
Yeah, right.
You know. Lastly, budget stuff. November was a positive month. We entered December right around $140,000 on the good side of forecasted revenue. I feel like I was saying the same exact thing at this time last year. As confident as I am about hitting our revenue numbers, I am equally concerned about expenses. I know James is too. Prices for essential products that we use are up significantly, and suffice to say, it's going to be a bit of a stressful spring for James and I as we closely monitor the budget and work to get every penny out of it in the most efficient way possible. As great as golf's popularity is on the revenue side of things, that many more rounds being played absolutely puts a strain on the expense side of the budget, not to mention the actual golf course and turf itself. More rounds equals more turf compaction and stress. It means certain maintenance tasks take longer to do because there's more golfers to navigate around. Again, not complaining, it's a good problem to have, just making sure everybody knows what we're up against. That's really all I have. Things are looking good, positive things are happening.
The
Just gotta
carts?
sit back and wait. I reached out recently, and he said, he being, the rep from Yamaha, said he has no reason to think we won't hit our April 1 date.
Excellent.
No news is good news on that front,
Yeah,
I think.
really. Yeah.
I'll start getting a lot more nervous once we get into February and March, but for now, I think we're fine. Then it becomes the game of we don't want to give a lot of gas back, right? So the game of rotating carts around when it gets down to the end is kind of a dance that I remember doing 5 years ago.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
That carts at both courses?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a smart move you made. You saved a lot of money with a double contract.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
No way of knowing, but I like to think that much buying power got us a really good number. And it saved us it saved us 10 or 12 grand this fiscal year because of the 1-year extension of Hyannis.
Right.
Because obviously we got a better deal because they were 5-year-old carts.
Yeah, they were pretty shabby.
But now it's time. Hyannis, they're 6 years old. Here they're 5 years old. Yeah, so that'll be nice.
It'll be nice.
There's no bells and whistles that
No GPS.
No. It was it went up it went up so much to begin with. But
Those carts that shut off if you veer off the path by 3 inches.
Yeah, Waikless. The
Um,
carts yell at you.
Well, it's like, they just go, nope, you're not going anywhere, and then you have to, call the pro shop,
yeah,
whatever, but I
You
didn't
have
want
to
you to
back
do
up.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, you back
You
up
can
and they'll
back
start
up.
up again, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I didn't want that. You might have, because it keeps people on the path, but,
What I like about that whole, the geo fencing and the GPS is any course that has that system also has a screen in the pro shop where they see where every cart is.
so they know who's doing what.
They know who's where, they know who's behind, they can send a message, hey, you're 2 holes behind.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
send it. That's pretty cool.
That's nice.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, and I actually looked into base level GPS trackers basically that you could put on a card and then have, but it's too much.
Too much.
It's too much. Yeah.
And the carts you're getting can't be retrofitted necessarily. Like, suppose you make enough money and decide, gee, that system would really help us manage the courses.
Yeah, a lot of these were literally just little GPS units that would just magnetically,
Right.
and then, but then you're paying a hefty monthly software fee.
That's true.
It's one thing just to buy the units, but then the fee was a lot. It was per month per cart.
Who monitors all that too?
You need someone to
Right.
monitor it, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, you need somebody to monitor it 24/7, constantly.
It's a lot.
Speaking of that, did you put a camera on number 10 at Hyannis?
Yes.
Was that helpful in stopping people from sneaking in there?
I think so.
Good. That's good.
We've seen some funny things.
There was a kid walked down with a big remote controlled car and just decided to drive it all up and down 10. That was pretty fun.
Wow.
So we're watching that, and at that exact moment, I'm watching it and here comes Mike Colopy walking around the corner, kicking him out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So we've seen some weird stuff.
I think the worst thing was people just, thinking they could jump in to the course, and, people coming off a 9 suddenly are
Right.
backed up, which is,
We can rotate it. We can actually look down the 9th hole. It can spin that much
Oh,
to
you
where we can
can?
look down the 9th hole. So in the pro shop, hey, can I go off 10?
yeah.
We can on the computer now look down the 9th hole and see, because you can't see anything from the pro shop besides the green.
Yeah. Did you see that eagle I made?
Yeah. So that's been cool to have. It was,
That's good.
Cost
I
$1,000
think that was
but-
Keith's. Did you bring up that idea? I think you did.
Maybe, yeah,
Because you
perhaps,
saw
yeah.
people really cheating and messing the course up that way, so.
Yeah, we've got
Nice job.
it's a deterrent for sure. We've seen
Yeah.
people coming off of 18 with headlamps on. Literally. It's funny.
Headlamps.
Over the last couple of weeks,
You're kidding.
playing golf, coming off the
Yeah.
18th hole
Like.
with a headlamp. Like that's how they're finishing their round. Yeah.
Keith.
All
That's
kinds
Italian.
of wildlife.
Hey, Christmas is coming, maybe I can.
Yeah, all kinds of wildlife.
Could have a nighttime quota league.
We've thought about the glow ball stuff, but it's a lot.
Jesse, several months ago, one of the line items at Hyannis was changed from restaurant rent to electricity.
Right.
It's now back to restaurant rent.
I thought about that. I talked about it. I realized the only money we had taken in was electrical bill reimbursements.
Yeah.
So I basically said to Susan, let's change the verbiage to at least show that. I then thought about it, and that has no business being there because it's not revenue, technically. It's a reimbursement
Yeah.
for money we've spent on, electric bills that they benefit from. So basically, I took the electric reimbursement. I told her, take it off. It's not revenue. It doesn't belong there. And in that time, we have received rent. Some.
I see that.
We have received some
2.65,
partial
right.
rent. So, and I will say on that front, the Gimme's front, it looks like I'm not privy to all the conversations happening above me. I know you're tired of me saying that, but it looks like positive things are happening, and I'm a lot more comfortable now with where we stand. We have, seems like some confusion was cleared up at a level far above mine, and we have received some rent, and I like where we stand right now a lot more than I did in recent months.
Well, again, I've said this before, we want them to succeed. We
Yeah.
absolutely want them to succeed. So we'll support them in any way we can. Other questions for Jesse? Okay, I just want to make one comment before we adjourn. We've just gone through the season of thanks, and now we're in a season of joy, if you will. And I know that I speak for every member of the golf committee, and I also speak for 99% of the guys and women that I play with. And I play with a lot of people. In expressing thanks to every member of the golf program. And again, Jesse's here, James here, Chris here, sometimes Susan, Mary, old Dave, Tom, Mike, new Dave, but also, please, all of the people who work, whether they be the starters, whether they be the seasonal people, the full-time people. I know that sometimes in the summer I go out and I play the back nine, and I tee off at 6:30, and I run into some of those people, like at 5 in the morning.
Yep.
And they couldn't be friendlier. They couldn't be nicer. They don't want to get in your way, and actually I'm in their way, you know, at that time in the morning. But they're so polite and so just terrific, and they do such a great job. And like I said, everybody I know and that I play with just rave about the courses. So I just want to make sure that everybody on the staff, from the top, I don't want to say top to the bottom, everyone's in this thing together. Seasonal people, full-time people. Again, speaking for the golf committee, we appreciate all the work that's done. And I think it's appropriate to say that at this time of the year.
I think I want to read. John Croce was there last night at our little staff get together, and he sent me.
He's a staff member.
He sent me a text today, and I think it's apropos at this point. He said, you know, last night was great. Enjoyed the food and drink very much, but the best part was the folks who attended. And he's right. We have a great group of people. I mean, James and I are, you know, we're at the pinnacle of our careers, so to speak. This is what we wanted to do, and it's stressful at times, but we have a lot of really good people that
Well,
we
you're
work
very
with.
appreciated, that's for sure. We all feel
We
that.
try.
We have a great public golf
We
program,
do,
period.
yeah.
All right, so with that, any other comments? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, we adjourn.